I'm Daniel, the past life regressionist, and it's time to begin.
Lift off and the clock has started.
This is Timeless Spirituality. Enjoy each of your time.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Timeless Spirituality. Today's episode, all about female empowerment. Now, yes, I understand the irony of that, considering, well, I'm a dude. But yeah, today is just to celebrate all the kick-ass women out there and the eternal power that is you. And just that inherent wisdom and, well, again, power that you guys have. So today is all about you guys and celebrating you. And for my guest, Jenna Curtis, and her partner, Gabriel, I want to say congratulations, guys. Because Jenna and Gabriel have a newborn together. So congratulations, guys. Now on to the announcements. I'm going to be having a couple workshops coming up. And I'm going to be giving you guys some more information on those in the coming weeks. So I just want to give you guys a little heads up that there are workshops on the way. And yes, if you would like to book a regression with me to discover who, when, and where you have been throughout time, just send me a message over at Instagram at The Past Life Regressionist, or you can reach me through my website, thepastliferegressionist.com. Jenna, thank you so much for being here.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. So before we dive in to the past life portion of the talk, you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I am from Austria. I came to Los Angeles about 8 years ago. Didn't really know what I was doing here, but I didn't want to be back in Austria anymore. Became an actress. I was a model before, but I was kind of done with it before I came here. And then I was diving into that whole thing again. So this is actually what I do. I act and model and I sing. I'm musical theater trained. Although there's not much theater going on in LA. So that's more like New York. Maybe I should switch location for that. But I would say last year, so I've been here for 8 years. I've been totally into work, and everybody who lives in LA and works in LA knows that it's all about work. And you can just go day and night without stopping. And I came to this point about 2 years ago where I was at a burnout. I noticed I was super successful. I was making a lot of money, but then I was like, something's missing. And I was just tired. I was just really tired of all the work that I was doing. And I didn't really see why I was doing it anymore. And that was when I took a trip to Bali. I think that's a good thing to do when you get to that point. And that was pretty life-changing, where I discovered that there was no acting, there was no modeling and all of these things. And I felt amazing. And I was like, this is how I want to feel. I was creative, I was writing, I was dancing, I was getting into my body, I was experiencing myself in a different way. So then I came back to LA after that, after 2 months. And just when I was diving back into the entertainment industry, all of a sudden COVID hit, and it gave me another year off, which was actually amazing because I was a little afraid, when you come back from Bali and having such an amazing experience, that you just jump back into work and you forget about all this again and you get tired again. So for me, last year was such a blessing. Yeah, I was able to create my own talk show from my living room, basically. It's called Jen on Air, Talk to Her. And I'm still doing that. We're in season 2 right now of that show this year. And this is also, last year was also when we met and when we did a past life regression. And that was also life-changing. I think, sometimes when you start like one big thing and you start changing your life or making a decision to make things differently, then you find the right people that come to you, that help you to get even further on that path. So the past life regression was also showing me really like that I was on hold. Like my life somehow was really on hold. And I was not living the life I think that I was supposed to live somehow. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess more about that later when we dive into that. But that's about me, yeah. And ever since, I have to say, ever since COVID hit and I went to Bali and did this past life regression, I love my life. And I'm also in the last year, I met the love of my life. I got engaged. We moved into a new place and I'm 8 months pregnant right now. So everything happened in such a short amount of time. And from kind of acting and modeling life sounded exciting and everything, but I feel like you don't really make memories that way. It's like, it's just a job, and what I'm experiencing now is like living. I feel like I have a life now that I didn't have before.
Well, thank you for all that. I just want to say from my perspective, I believe the reason things are changing for you or have changed is because you made a conscious decision to receive the information and then act upon it, which is not something that everyone does. So I don't want everyone to walk away with this impression that they'll magically have this amazing life if they do a past life regression with me or with someone else, although it's a cool experience. But you made those changes. You received the information. You're like, I'm going to do something about this. So I think that's the key component in all that, is that you were the driving force behind it. You made that change. And I just think that that's really important to point out, that you did what was necessary. And I have such respect for that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was definitely about the intention of how can I make my life better now or be more fulfilled? Like what's missing in my life also. And I noticed that when I stopped, and that was before I went to Bali, that was the first realization that something has been fun for the past few years, but I'm kind of empty, I don't really have a partner that I would want to have a family with, or like, I blocked a lot of these things away. And then of course, the more things were coming my way that can free me even more and give me more of, what I'm looking for, I was just open to that and just looking for these experiences.
Okay, so past life talk now. I always tell my clients that whatever they're expecting to happen, if they have any expectations for how a session's going to go, it's not going to go that way. Whatever you're expecting, not going to happen. With that said, was the session what you expected it would be?
Well, I knew from my mom, because my mom is in Austria and she does past life regressions. Not that many anymore than she used to, but I never had a regression with her because I was always scared. I always thought like, oh my God, because sometimes I heard women like screaming in her room and like experiencing things. And I was afraid that would hurt to do something like that. So I was expecting it to maybe be scary and painful, maybe if I would get to a point where I see myself dying in a dramatic way. So that's what I was expecting. And I didn't know also if I would see myself like in a movie, if I would see a film, like, and I would say, oh, that's me. And I would watch myself doing things, or if I would actually experience it myself, like, being able to look at my hands and see who I am in the regression. So it was very different. It was not painful. So that was a good thing. I think it could have been painful at some point, but I remember you guiding me away from the sensation of it, being able to just really experience it without the pain. But as I said, I don't feel like I really had an expectation. Could have been anything.
Well, that worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. Maybe that's even better, because if you expect too much, maybe you block yourself a little bit and you're not relaxed,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I totally agree with that statement. That's why I was like, no expectations. Just trust whatever comes through.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's talk about the experience. What came up for you?
Well, for me, it was really interesting because first I saw myself flying over a city or like a town. It was more like a town, small town. It must have been like really in medieval time, something like that, based on the houses, what they looked like. And I remember landing like a feather. I was just flying down. Once I kind of saw this town, I was flying down and landing on a lot of cobblestone. Like there were like cobblestone streets And I remember looking down, and I had a basket with me, and I had a basket with apples, and there was also a book in there. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I was in a marketplace. I guess maybe I bought these apples for something, maybe for baking, who knows? Because later we found out, I remember you guiding me through it, and you said, can we take a look at the book? Can we see what's in the book? And I was like, no. I was like, no, we can't look inside. Nobody is supposed to see what's in this book. So you guided me to a place. You said, is there a place where we could look at it? And then I remember us walking to this tree, and I was sitting down under a tree opening the book. And I saw that there were recipes in there, like beauty recipes. And I don't know if it was also like baking recipes, but it was definitely something that at that time, people would probably kill you as a witch. They would chase you, and they would think you're a witch because you have beauty recipes. And so I knew that I was something like an alchemist or like a healer, which, in the past they just called it witch. And I knew also at that time that I had a women's group, or like I was working with women and maybe other healers, and it was a very secret circle. So that's what I knew. And then we went to the house, to my house, and I saw it was all wooden. It was very small. And I saw there was a picture on the wall. And the picture on the wall, I recognized that it was me and my husband. But I also knew at the time that my husband wasn't here. So then we went further into that, and I remembered that he was called to go to war. So he had to leave. And when he left, he told me, wait for me, I'll be back. And I gave him the promise, and I said, okay, I'll be waiting for you. And I was waiting for a long time, and he never came back. So I was kind of not living my life because I was waiting for him, and I gave that promise, and I was not seeing any other man. I was not getting involved with anybody else. Everybody knew I was very dedicated to my husband. And also the thing is, my husband knew that I was doing work like the one I was doing. Like I was a healer, and he was protecting me from other people. And so that's why I felt safe. And I also didn't want to share myself with anybody else. So, and I remember us actually going back and taking that out, that promise, because I think that's really something you can take with you over more than one life, and you still feel stuck and you don't know why. But it's like because you gave the promise to somebody to wait. And what happened though in the regression is that I was waiting so long that my life was over. So all I wanted is have a family and be with my husband. And I was waiting for him to come back to start all that. And I was young at that time. I remember looking myself into that lake. We went to that lake, and I saw myself, and I was really young, maybe, I don't know, 18 or something, and full of hope and everything. And then I remember seeing like aging spots on my hands. That's when I knew, okay, I was still single. My husband was still not here. And what I did then is I went to tell the guys that I'm a witch. So they would burn me and they would kill me. So I would see my husband again, maybe. So I believed in reincarnation. I kind of knew that we come back, and I knew that this would probably be the fastest way to see my husband again is to die myself, which is kind of interesting. But
it's a twisted logic, but there is logic there.
Yeah, right. So what I did is, I told everybody about my work. So I knew they would kill me. And then the next moment, I remember my eyes started like flickering, like in real life when I was laying on the couch when we had the regression. And I knew immediately, I said, yeah, I'm burning. So I knew I was standing in the fire, which got really warm for a second. And this is when you took away the sensation. So I could just watch myself and experience myself standing in the fire. And I was so empowered. It was so powerful because I knew I wanted to die. You know, it's not like somebody's doing something to me. I basically agreed to that. And I saw my friends and my women friends were standing in the crowd. Like there was a huge crowd in front of me. Everybody was watching. They were crying because they knew it was sad, you know, because I basically just didn't want to live anymore because I didn't feel full. Like there was no reason to live anymore. Yeah, so that's how it ended basically. And I'm still getting goosebumps talking about it. Like every time I talk about it, I get goosebumps. And yeah, there's definitely something to it.
I remember there being something more with the women's group, right? Or am I thinking of another regression I did with someone else?
No, I mean, I have a women's group in real life.
Maybe that's what it was.
Like now, I mean, it's not active right now because I'm like really 8 months pregnant, but I'm gonna pick that up next spring again. So I feel like there's just a connection of certain things that I've done back then, you know, or things that I knew about back then, or believing in reincarnation. That's not a new thing for me in this life, obviously. So I was doing that type of work already, and it was interesting to see that. And even the apples, I mean, I was just making apple strudel yesterday. So, I love baking, and that's also such a witch thing to do, I guess. So it's such a women's thing, the baking aspect of things and alchemy, you know, like putting things together and cooking something.
I guess everyone was a witch back then for the most part then.
Yeah, definitely. But there were more aspects, of course, to it. It was like, you know, if you have like really good skin, like, or you're pretty, then it's like, oh, you're like, you must be a witch because that's unnatural or something like that.
Wait, was there something with that I remember where, sorry for everyone listening, it's been a while since we've done the session, but
yeah, it's been a year almost.
I think it was something with the men being upset that women had power, or am I thinking of another one? Because you guys had those beauty remedies.
Oh,
was that your session?
Yeah, there was a thing like that, but it was mostly like that men, I mean, that was the initial problem, I think, back in the days, is that men were actually just afraid of women being so powerful, even just with their intuition. Or women are powerful beings, you know, and some men are just really afraid of it. And that's, I think, why the feminine has been so repressed for a long time. So that happened back then. So for us, it was like, we knew we were powerful in that circle. We knew we had all that, but we knew also that men would take advantage of knowing that, and they would actually try to kill us because they're afraid of us. So I think that is like the whole witch hunt and everything that was going on. I think that's really connected to that.
I think you guys were doing it in secret, if I remember also, right?
Yeah, that's why my husband at that time was the only person who kind of knew what was going on, and he was supporting me actually. But there were some women in that group, they were just alone because they couldn't tell any man because they would have freaked out about it. So yeah, it was a very secretive thing. And the book that I had, maybe I was just using that because I was carrying around like that. Maybe I was just using it to tell people it's a recipe book for baking, you know, but there were other recipes in there. Yeah. So like there's some witch stuff. And so, but back in the days, that was normal, I guess. That was normal that women knew about it. Maybe not all the women were living it because they were afraid to tap into their power.
Yeah, just the badass ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Still not taking anything away from the ones who weren't practicing it, but kudos to the ones who were.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, also from your session, was there something with the men who executed you? Was there some kind of recognition there that I remember?
Yeah, I remember actually like seeing this person. I knew who that is in my life right now. Just like my girlfriends that were standing in the crowd watching me burn. I know them from this life, and they're both in Austria. So the executor is somebody I know also from this life. And I knew that he was in my regression, he loved setting me on fire because he was a person that he wanted to be with me my entire life, but I never gave in, and I was rejecting him because I was waiting for my husband. So he was more than happy to set me on fire. And I could feel that. But at the same time, I felt like there was this power game of me, like, no, I chose this. Like, if I wouldn't have told you, you know, you wouldn't even know how powerful I am or what I can do. So it was a very powerful experience for sure.
Let me ask you, did it shed some light on your dynamic with this person in this life? Did you have a deeper understanding of however it was you had interactions with this person in this life as Jenna?
Well, I think it was interesting. There was some controlling behavior from that person in this life too that I sensed that could be related to that, maybe just coming through in a different form. But there was also something of like, I don't know, there's the men, you know, when they want to take power, they become controlling. When they know that they don't have control, then they get very, very upset, very emotional, sometimes very aggressive. So I remember that this person was giving me every once in a while these feelings of wanting to control things. And whenever I noticed that, of course, I don't like that, I always had the power to say no or to separate myself from that. So I would be back in my power. So not letting that happen really. But after seeing him like in there, it totally made sense. I was like, okay, you're still playing this old thing here. I thought we're done with that. So, but also the connection, like after the past life regression, the connection ended for a while. There was like no need to control anymore, you know, like for him, maybe it resolves actually more for him than for me because I didn't do that to him. He was doing that to me. So I think it really affected a lot of people around me also, not just me, who took the past life regression. The same with my husband in the regression. Actually interesting because it was a person that I had such a hard time getting over. I had such a hard time getting over him. Like he was a very short relationship of mine. And I kind of was holding on to that. And I was kind of waiting for him to respond to me. And it was just, I couldn't explain it, you know, because it wasn't such a long or deep relationship. And then after the past life regression, all of a sudden, first of all, I felt free. Like I was emotionally not attached to this person at all anymore. I was like, it's so strange. Like for months I've been struggling with that, and all of a sudden I don't care. And also I think what was hard for me was that I couldn't communicate with him because he didn't talk to me for a long time. After we broke up, he didn't talk to me. And after our regression, 2 nights after that, he was reaching out. He was texting. I didn't tell him anything. He has still up to today. He has no idea that I had a past life regression. But he sent me a text and he said, "Hey, just wanting to know if everything's okay. I was worried for some reason." I was like, yeah, probably because I just got burned in front of a lot of people as a witch. And he picked up on that, you know? And so that's when I think like if he was that in the past life that I saw in the picture and my husband that never came back, it would make sense, you know? And because I was really waiting. I was waiting for him to respond to me. I was waiting for him to be open to speak to me, to maybe come together again. And because we had so many plans, you know, we had a lot of plans and all of a sudden everything. So it was interesting. It's just a different form of my past life. I think that we've been living in a very short amount of time until I resolved that. And then the connection disappeared almost completely. And then no bad blood anymore. Like we were able to talk, like, so it's like, it's so powerful. It's such a powerful experience, that regression.
Yay.
Yay. Did a lot.
Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah.
Did you see any other lives or was it just the one?
No, it was just that one. And I guess it was just what I needed. Yeah, it was exactly what I needed in order to move on from that relationship and open myself up to things that I really want to experience in life and not wait anymore for anyone.
My feeling on him contacting you, I believe it was a matter of that promise being severed. Or maybe not severed or let go. So he may have felt subconsciously that he had that subconscious hold over you. And then he's like, wait, I'm not feeling this anymore. Like, wait, she's been waiting for me for hundreds of years, but she's not waiting anymore. What's this feeling? Oh, no, something must be wrong. You know, click, 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 click. Is everything okay?
Yeah, she's not giving me her attention anymore. She's not like waiting for me anymore. Yeah.
Is that what you meant when you said that other people were affected by your aggression as well? People who weren't even there because of the cords that were being cut.
Totally. And I think it's almost like my life was really a little bit, even though, you know, I had a good time during like COVID lockdown and everything, but still there was some elements that were missing, like, you know, a relationship or like a family that I actually always wanted. I always wanted a family, but I never really felt ready for it. But it was a huge part that I think it made things move in my life. So it was like, okay, so this story is resolved. I don't have to play that anymore. There's like waiting for something that I don't even know what it is. And I think that's also why so rapidly my life changed after that, like in the past year. I mean, as I said, it's ridiculous how fast things were aligning because I was not in that waiting mode anymore.
Right. But I think still, as much as I would like to take all the credit for the session doing it, I still think a lot of that power resides within you, because you still could have made the decision to let him go during the session. But once it was done, well, I don't want to quite let it go. I kind of want to still be attached to this. But you put your foot down and you stuck to your convictions. So still, I think a lot of that is because of you and how powerful you are. So I want to give you the credit for that one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, after the regression session also, I felt really free. It's almost like you feel like a new person and you don't want to take on anything anymore. You're like, oh, great. You know, I've resolved this. I feel powerful. And I had a very powerful experience standing there burning. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm in charge of my life, really. So it was empowering too.
Thank you. Yeah, with the witch one, it's interesting because I see two different scenarios that play out when I have clients who go back to lives as witches when they're being burned. It's either one like yours, where there's that sense of empowerment, which those don't happen as frequently as the other ones, which is just the screaming and the sheer terror of it. And
oh my God.
Well, when I say screaming, not my client screaming, but they're articulating to me, oh my God, I'm in the fire screaming right now, but still removed from the discomfort.
Yeah, they don't feel it, but they are experiencing it in a different way.
Yeah. So it's always really cool to see the witches like you in a past life were like, yeah, I'm owning it. This is me and my power. I've got this. You know, c'est la vie world.
Yeah, it was very calm. Like I felt like I was able to observe. I was very calm. It's almost like I was collecting my energy. You know, even then I wasn't giving away my dignity, you know, to anybody. So it was very, very empowering.
Yeah. And so also for everyone listening, I want to make the distinction right now between the knowing and understanding of what's happening and experiencing it. So, and please, Jenna, jump in if I'm not explaining this correctly, that you had a complete awareness that you were in the fire. You had an awareness that you were being burned. And you had an awareness of the feelings that you were feeling in that past life. But you didn't actually feel like you were being burned when you were going through the process. It was just that awareness of, oh, this is what's happening right now. Exactly.
Although I have to say the sensation came up for a little bit. Like, as I said, it started getting warm. Like I felt like, ooh, there's like heat coming up, but it wasn't like painful necessarily, but you stopped it before it was maybe getting overwhelming or something. So as soon as I brought up what's happening and what I'm experiencing, you said, okay, let's take that sensation away and keep going, you know, keep experiencing what you experience without the sensation.
Right. And I know that may seem overly simplistic, that it was just a matter of me saying, okay, let's remove the discomfort, let's remove the sensation, but that's it. That's all I say in that moment to remove it. And then it's not there. So anyone listening, you don't need to worry about feeling like you're going to be burned at the stake if you see yourself there. It's a matter of having that awareness. So then most of the time in that situation, that's what needs to be released, is that remembrance of being burned at the stake, because not every witch went out with glory.
Let's do it.
There's this thing called the witch wound that's very common with a lot of healers.
Oh, really?
That it's a fear of really embracing their power because of that remembrance of being killed for a time when they did. Yeah. So if we go back to a witch life, it's a matter of releasing that. So yeah, I don't want anyone to be deterred by, oh my God, I'm gonna be burning in the fire. Well, you'll be aware of it, but you won't actually feel that. You'll be like, oh my God, I'm screaming right now, but not like not screaming in the room with me. So yeah,
but
you're
you
able
think
to separate
that, I mean,
yourself.
if you revisit that you can actually see how it really was or where it comes from, and then you can let it go in your current life. That you don't have to, I mean, even I know so many people, so many people say like, oh, I wish I had the confidence to do this and just be who I am. But if I am who I am, then I lose everything, So which is exactly that, which I die, like I disappear if I show myself fully. And I think a lot of women have that with their beauty. Like I personally had that a lot, hiding my beauty or making myself more ugly to not be seen. And then at the same time, you have this urge though, you're like, I want to be seen, but I feel like something's happening if I do, or if I'm very successful in life, people try to take things from me. I think it's the same thing. So I'm getting goosebumps again. Yeah, it's the witch thing. It's the witch thing coming up.
Right. So for you, how we went in and how'd you release the memory of the past life husband, what we would do in the situation if it was you being burned at the stake and not going out in that blaze of glory, but that remembrance of being killed for it, we would go ahead and release that fear from the scene. And we would usually go ahead and have you forgive your executors and all the people cheering you on, and you in that body, the remembrance of that fear. And then, look, still, it's not foolproof, but it makes things much easier. Like the best way that I can describe it is it's almost like your tank is emptied at that point, that fear tank. But then it's up to you whether or not you want to let it fill up again. And the best way to not let it fill up is to usually face that fear. And it's much easier to face that fear because you no longer have that weight holding you down. But then you can also make the choice to let it all build up again by not facing it. So it's like the slate is being wiped clean more. And like I was saying earlier with Jenna, I feel that the slate was wiped clean with you and that person in that moment. But then you could have still been attached. Like when he reached out to you.
I had a moment.
Right? Yeah. Right. And that's where
I was
you
like, maybe now we can be happy together. And maybe now, we can try this again. And then I was like, you know what? I was waiting for you like for months. And now you reach out and I'm like, no. I was like, no.
And that's where you deserve all the credit it's easier to release that past life memory. Well, what's much more difficult is actually having the balls to walk away in your life. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's the correct statement.
That works too for girls, I think.
Okay, you never know. But yeah, that's where the real challenge came in. And to me, I think you passed that test with flying colors if you want to think of it as a test. Like, even though you had that moment, you didn't give in and you stuck to what you knew to be the right thing for you to do, which is not an easy thing to do. So again, I have so much respect for you doing that. And still, to everyone listening, I just want to stress this. Things started happening for Jenna after, because she took the steps to change, to not just say, oh, well, I went through this past life regression, so now everything is just going to change. No. She took the steps to make changes. And like, I'm going to make an assumption right now, which is not something I like to do a lot, but I'm going to assume that there are other ways that you made changes in your life after the session as well. Like other things that may have held you back before where you're like, I'm going to go for it now. And if that's the case, that's you. that is all you're doing. Again, anyone listening, it's up to you if you want to allow the space for these things to come into your life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, thanks. But I think also that what I was seeing with my husband in that life, what became almost more like a side thing of everything, because it was more powerful for me to decide what I wanted to do with my life after that. Like, it's like, yeah, great, I gave a promise, but he never showed up. So am I gonna continue sitting here, or am I gonna start a new life by dying first and then being reincarnated, like reborn, and having another chance to make it better? So I think that was very impactful, and that was what gave me the energy also to move on from that completely in my real life.
All right, let's talk about the higher self portion of the session. What do you remember from it?
Well, that was pretty interesting, because at the end it was more like it confirmed everything that I experienced during the regression. And the message was, don't wait for anything anymore, like step into your power, which was the fire, and show the world who you are and share your gifts. The witches are being burned for their gifts, and don't hide anymore, really. So that's why I had to see this live, because I was kind of out there halfway a little bit, but I wasn't really believing in myself so much. I think with the things that I had to say or share with the world, like my gifts, it really pushed on that a little bit and gave me more confidence to do it now, finally, that I don't have anything to lose anymore, because I'm already burning. So new beginnings was kind of the message.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I guess my final question for you with regards to the past life regression is, what do you feel was the most profound part of it for you?
Yeah, I mean, really that message, don't wait for anything, because it might never come. And now, life is now, pretty much. So you got to go for it now, or you get too old for it. Or, if you want a family, like there's like a limit. I mean, for women, at least, when you can have babies, or when it's safe to have babies. And yeah, I felt like I didn't want to miss out on anything after this. So I think that was the key for me to start this crazy life that I have right now with a baby on the way and an almost husband and new place and everything.
Yay. So where can everyone find you?
I am, of course, guys, you can watch my show, Jen on Air, talk to her, that I created in all of this craziness. We have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Life on Jen on Air. And there will also be a YouTube channel going up in about 2 weeks with all the videos and shows from last year. There will be more stuff on there, some baking stuff also. Me baking apple strudel and sharing my gifts. Also doing a podcast there, sharing some wisdom for everybody who wants to check that out. Jen on Air on Instagram. I'm under Jenna Curtis _Lala, like La La Land, because that's where I live right now. And I'm on Facebook too, if anybody wants to find me there. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing today. And just thank you for being you, and who I believe to be an amazing role model for all women out there.
Thank you.
Just thank you for coming on and being that source of inspiration, because even for me, you're a source of inspiration, because when I have my own sessions, I don't always make changes that quickly. So you are definitely an inspiration for me as well. So I take back what I said about just women. Thank you for just being a role model out there for
everybody. Well, thank you. Yeah. And thanks for unlocking a lot of stuff, in my life by assisting me in everything that I was going through. So, and thanks for inviting me to the show.
It was my pleasure having you on. And I can't wait to have you on again. And just congratulations on everything amazing that you have coming your way.
Thank you.
Fellow time travelers, your journey through time awaits you. Just want to thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. And if you're interested in discovering who, when, and where you have been throughout time, and you'd like to book a session with me, just go ahead and send me a message on Instagram @ThePastLifeRegressionist, or you can reach me through my website, yourpastliferegressionist.com.